Climate change is causing an increase in temperature, changes in rainfall patterns, sea level rise, and ocean acidification, to name a few. A major concern of climate change is the impact on human health.
Well, all diseases can be impacted by climate change.
Emerging infectious diseases such as West Nile virus and cholera are greatly impacted by climate change. Many of these emerging infectious diseases are transmitted through vectors.
For a vector-borne disease, if you have a lot of mosquitoes, more mosquitoes, you're going to be transmitting more disease, like for West Nile virus. If you're bitten by a mosquito and it has the West Nile virus because it fed on a bird, then the person is going to get it kind of as part of that cycle.
There are a few other ways that disease can be spread.
You can introduce new diseases by people traveling, by the animals moving themselves, so like with birds migrating or with terrestrial animals migrating in shorter distances than birds migrate.
There are a few ways that climate change allows emerging infectious diseases to increase their range.
That the range where pests can live comfortably relates to the climate that they are adapted for. And if that's changing, then they can move to areas that they may not have previously been comfortable in. And needless to say, if they're getting to places where other species that may have been effective predators are not present, then they are going to do rather well.
Like with a fungal infection, say, it has a certain temperature requirement or a humidity requirement. If we cross the threshold of increasing the temperature or decreasing the temperature, depending on which disease you're talking about, it can certainly make, if the disease vector crosses with the temperature that they're most likely to survive at, then you're going to see disease crossover because of that.
Most scientists agree that increased biodiversity decreases the spread of disease.
The more bird species, the more bat species, fish species, and so forth, the better control you're going to have over mosquitoes, for example. So obviously, maintaining high biodiversity is going to be effective.
Diversity actually improves the environment. If an animal fills its own niche, then exotic species are less likely to take over that kind of niche.
The concept being discussed is called the dilution effect. This is the idea that if there is a diverse set of hosts for the parasite to prey on, then there will be less transmission of disease, as many will be dead-end hosts and will not be infected by the parasite. Various human practices are leading to this loss in biodiversity.
We're basically ravaging it. We're knocking out species very, very rapidly. Not just for climate change. Habitat loss and other things are enormous stressors, but if you add climate change on top of that, a species that is only barely hanging on, and then you push its climate tolerance beyond where it's able to remain, it's going to just speed that process up. And we're seeing that in a lot of places where we have desertification or changes in precipitation and certainly temperature extremes and so forth.
It is important that we understand the importance of biodiversity. We contribute to climate change, which is harming our biodiversity, and in turn, human health. If we continue to contribute to climate change, we will continue to promote the spread of emerging infectious diseases. We all, as the human population, need to work towards preserving our biodiversity and preventing climate change in order to support our own well-being.